Hello, artists. So today we are going to talk about drawing people. I asked a few of you what lesson you wanted from me next, and a lot of you said that you really wanted to learn how to draw people. Now, in my younger grades, I have taught them a really simple way to draw people using squares and using ovals. But here's the thing, those techniques can be built upon to be used to draw people for the older grades as well. So for today's lesson, I'm going to use a little bit of help from my friend Manny. Manny is an art mannequin that I use sometimes to help me draw poses. Now, the interesting thing about Manny is that he is already put into shapes for you. So when you look here, just like when you're drawing people, you have to break it down into simple shapes. So no matter how I move Manny, no matter what I do to him, no matter how crazy his pose is, you can still see that he's using those same shapes. One of the big things that you see when you're drawing a person is that all of the joints, can be drawn as circles. So right where you see his shoulder goes, his elbow, and even his wrist, you can just use circles for that part. Then the limbs, like the forearm and the thigh, all of that is just elongated ovals. What about the shapes for the torso and the pelvis? What kind of shapes do you see there? You could draw them as simple ovals as well. This is a little bit more of a square shape also you could use. As long as you're using those basic shapes to help break down your person, then it will look the right way. But you have to make sure, especially for you guys, because you're doing more advanced drawings, that you are showing all of the parts of the body. Because when you look at your arm, it's not just one long shape. It's actually broken down. Like this. So you have shoulder, you have the upper arm, you have the elbow, you have the forearm, and then you have the wrist, and then you have the hand. When you're looking at the leg, you have this part up here, which is the hip, then you have the thigh, you have the knee, then you have the shin, and then you have the ankle, and you have the foot. So you have to think of all of those parts when you are drawing a person. So when I am drawing Manny, I have to make sure that I am actually looking at him. So I'm breaking down Manny's shapes. I'm thinking about the way that he's posed. I'm going to put him in a really fun pose. This might be a little tricky to draw, but I think it'll be fun. There we go. Manny is all set. So now I'm going to keep looking at Manny. Now, since you do not have a mannequin, what you can do though is look up pictures of people in different poses, or you can ask somebody to pose for you. So now I need to break down Manny into my shapes. It's really helpful when you're drawing a person to start off by thinking about the way that their spine is formed. So when we look at Manny, we see that his back is a little bit curved, so it may not be a bad idea to draw that curve. So I'm going to draw that curve first. Then I have to start thinking about the shapes. Now, I know that we don't use stick figures in art for our final drawing, but you can use stick figures to help you plan out your drawing. And that's why you're always using a pencil when you are doing drawings, so that way you can go over your work again. So I'm going to start off by thinking about the way that he is shaped right now and his torso. We said that we saw an oval when I looked at his torso, so I'm going to just start off with a simple oval. He has a bit of a circle for the part that's his belly, so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use a sort of square or trapezoid shape for his pelvis. Then I'm going to start thinking about other parts of the body, and I can use a line to help me show the way that his arm is. Like, I know that his arm is bent down, so I'm just doing a very light line that's going to probably move. Then I'm going to start to think about my joints. Since I've already laid out where his spine is, and I've already shown the way that his arms and legs are going to be posed, now I'm going to start to flesh them out. So start adding your circles for where the joints are. So your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrists. And check your work. Make sure you didn't make one section too big or too small. Then you can even start on the hips, the knees, and the ankles. So now you just have this kind of crazy looking stick figure. But now you can start to add some more objects to it. Start connecting those circles that you made for the joints with these elongated ovals. Then you can start to add, for today, because we're going to have another lesson where I go over how to draw hands, but for today you could just focus on doing simple shapes for your hand. Like I sometimes like to do this oval shape, and then you just can add your thumb on for today. So think about the way that the thumb should be facing, and if you need to, use your own hand to help you. So if you know that this one's down, you know the thumb is going to be facing yourself. Kind of looks like mittens. And then for feet, same thing. Just use a simple oval for today. We'll go over hands and feet another day. Great, so now I've made a body. And then you have to, of course, add your head, which should just be a simple oval. And now, you've drawn a person, but obviously they are not done. Now, you don't want to keep all these crazy lines here. This is just to help you draw. So now you have to go back and you have to start adding things to it. So this is where I would draw clothes on top of all of this, and I would draw my features and my hair. Then I would only outline the important parts. So now, this is the point where I would be having to go back very carefully and erase all those messy parts. I want to make sure that I outline all the important lines that I want to keep. For today, just keep the hands like this, but if you want to try to make them look realistic, feel free. But our focus is more on just drawing the body. And even if you're just drawing somebody with baggy clothes or even in a dress or anything, you still want to take the time to draw the body shape. Because when you just start drawing somebody without drawing the body underneath it, it always looks like the proportions are off. Good artists always plan out their work before they start to draw. Okay, see how I have all this pencil left over? That's normal. We're going to erase that now. And see what you have left is a person in a dynamic pose. So now this is when you would start to color. So this is up to you today how you would like to color your person. It does not have to look like mine, and you're going to get to choose from other poses that I'm going to put for you guys. So for today, please pick a pose. I will post some pictures of Manny in some different poses, and I want you to try to draw him today. Add some clothes to him, add some hair. If you want to change him into someone else, you totally can, but please use him as a reference. All right, cannot wait to see what you create.